Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think most of you know I'm from New York, and I think you're all aware that the New York Department of Financial Services has created what I believe is a best-in-class licensing regime for virtual currency businesses, which I'm very, very proud of. And New York DFS is the only prudential regulator with virtual asset-specific authority in these United States of America. Under the leadership of Superintendent Adrian Harris, DFS ensures that consumers and markets are protected, and New York continues to be the financial center of the entire world. They've assembled the largest team of expert virtual currency regulators in the nation and have taken the strongest supervisory and enforcement actions of any regulator. So let me ask Mr. Olea, who would you consider to be Circle's primary regulator?
Thank you for the question, Congressman Meeks. We are regulated similarly to virtually every other major electronic payment innovator in the United States. So we are regulated by many different state regulators throughout the U.S., similar to PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, and others. So we're an electronic stored value money transmission application, which requires us to be licensed, both a filing with the Treasury Department, BSA, AML requirements with U.S. Treasury, as well as licensing and supervision throughout the United States. We also have international supervisors that are central banks and market supervisors. We are also a BIT license company. In fact, we were the very first company in the world to receive the New York BIT license in 2015. We contributed to the development of that licensing regime. And we follow New York's reserve and disclosure requirements for stablecoins, which we would agree are some of the best available to the market today.
So are you saying, I just want to make sure that I'm clear, does Circle currently possess any type of virtual currency license in the domestic jurisdictions? Is that what you?
Yes, we have a BIT license, which is the New York virtual currency license, which they pioneered in 2015. Other states also have specific enhancements to their money transmission statutes that deal with virtual assets and interactions between the banking system and virtual assets. A number of large states do that already today. We're also supervised by international banking regulators such as the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the UK FCA, and others.
So you acknowledge that states like New York have been leaders in this space, and you agree that they have a vital role to play. Is that correct?
I absolutely agree.
So can you speak to why the existence of a state pathway is not a race to the bottom?
So I believe payment stablecoins, as identified by the Presidential Working Group and by the G20 as well, have the potential to be very large scale, much larger scale in use than many other payment technologies. And for that reason, it's been recommended that, by U.S. Treasury and by the White House and others, that there be national standards set for payment stablecoins. And I think that's exactly what, on a bipartisan basis, we're seeing happen here in Congress. And what's really key there is that there is a federally defined floor, that we do have the ability for federal regulators to define what that floor is so that there can't be a race to the bottom. And I believe the best states should be able to issue licenses and supervise firms according to this federal floor. And I think that's exactly what the legislation in front of us considers today.
Thank you. Let me jump to Mr. Garrison. Mr. Garrison, your assessment that the lack of clear rules of the road puts the United States at a competitive disadvantage deeply resonates with me. It's something that I've been talking about a lot. Like you, I hear regularly from U.S. companies that the lack of regulatory clarity at the federal level is causing them to consider moving out of the United States and seek to be regulated in other jurisdictions around the world. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to expand on this and share some of your observations in this area, and what are some of the potential near-term and longer-term impacts of industry participants leaving the United States.
So the regulatory uncertainty is tremendously difficult for people as they want to grow a business. And when they seek legal counsel and when they come to people like me, they are willing to spend money to comply with the law. They just simply need to know what the rules of the road are. And so it becomes incredibly frustrating when there is no clear rules of the road, and all you know is that an enforcement action may be hanging over your head, but there is no actual way to compliance. So one of the good things about
Gentleman's time has expired.